This is DevOps and Agile Way podcast.
Hello everyone, this is the next episode where I have the pleasure to talk with my guest, and today my guest is a friend of mine, I believe I can say that, Viktor Vedmich, who is right now the senior developer advocate in AWS, and in the past, we worked together in some community projects, community actions, community activities. And at least from my side, it was really great to work with you, Viktor. Viktor, thank you very much for joining me today. And yeah, thank you for accepting the invitation and sharing the things with us, with our audience today.
It's my pleasure to be here. You're so great person. And just like you said, from your side, from my side too, I remember that time when we working with community, try to engage people, try to create some quizzes, do a lot of stuff, deliver talks, try to engage people to learn something new, to do together so much things. And I believe this experience, this time helped me to be a developer advocate. And I believe it's also helped you to be also a developer advocate. And I want to say for you, congratulations. Finally, you on the same role.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was long journey, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind words. Yeah, definitely work with you helped me a lot to be in the place where I am now and following your steps because you joined AWS long before me joined Spacelift. Great. So as you heard that we were some kind of speeding machines for each other, and in good sense, I think. And we worked together, especially around the SEC conference 4 years ago in Gdańsk. It was a really good cooperation. Now, we talk about community stuff, related stuff, right? Like quizzes, like talks, like organizing, pushing, let's say, forcing sometimes the community to be more active. So from your perspective, not only today, but from your perspective throughout the whole career, how important the community in IT world is?
I would say community is important not only in IT world at all. It's super important everywhere. If you look at any area of your life, most probably you will find some community. You're playing football, soccer, bicycle, you're running. Most probably you will try also to find some community who also engage these activities and really like to share the experience. But in IT, it's super important because if you look at the IT, you have to learn constantly, every day. Because technology is moving so fast, and sometimes it's so difficult to understand and learn everything. And in community, the power of the community is knowledge sharing. And when people come to some conference, meetup, some fireside chat, doesn't matter, panel discussion, it's not so important. But when we're speaking with each other, we share this knowledge and share our experience. Because knowledge from the book, theoretical knowledge, it's one way how you can learn something. Another one, it's listen real experience from people who already delivered this project, use this technology. And in IT community, it's super important because you share this knowledge, you see how other people doing it. And if you look at the open source, it's community. Yeah, why open source is so popular and why just like many companies switch their focus to open source. Because in open source, it's a community when you don't need to pay money to do some stuff. People so engaged and so happy to make something better. Very good example, Wikipedia. Yeah, it's so huge library of knowledge currently. But who pay for just like as an author to pay to write something in Wikipedia? I didn't hear about that. So I believe in IT community, it's very important, especially because it's required so many knowledge.
But by the way, about the open source, I don't know if our audience heard about last move from Red Hat, where they like a closed
Yeah.
open source part for Red Hat, and especially one person which I'm really following, and it's one of my early mentors, let's say, offline mentors, because he didn't know about that, and he doesn't know. And anyway, Jeff Gerling, he's fighting with Red Hat right now in name of the community, and I wish him luck with this. So yeah, you mentioned the importance in IT world because of the dynamic of what we do, right? And this is exactly what is quite important. But if we look on the community, I don't know what is your experience, but my experience is something like that. When I thought for the first time I will speak on conferences, meetups, etc., I had the feeling that I will say so smart things, going deep. Oh my, what I will do, right? And then I realized that this is, of course, it happens, right? I speak about difficult problems, I speak about difficult things, more or less, but there is a huge potential and huge need to talk about basics, to talk about fundamentals, right? Do you see it in the same way?
Absolutely. So I have pretty good presentation, and I believe you know about that, CI/CD, and it's not advanced topic. I collected my experience about CI/CD because almost 10 years I work as, let's say, DevOps engineer. We called in EPAM system engineers. So it means like I work with CI/CD. I did a lot of with CI/CD. I collect my experience in this presentation. So in this presentation, it's not about super deep dive and how to do some fancy stuff with CI/CD, but it's real fundamentals knowledge. For that reason, people so like this presentation. It's covered from the start. It's junior, if listens this presentation, also will understand a lot. If senior will listen this presentation, also maybe not figure out something new, but at least systemize this knowledge and understand. And fundamentals knowledge sometimes is more important than cutting edge technology. Someone presented a new product and we have to speak about this product. I think no. I think fundamental knowledge, it also should be part of community and presented during, just like when we speak with community. Why? Because fundamental knowledge is not changing so fast. So I started my my speech to say why community is so important for IT, because we are moving so fast. Yes, agree. But at the same time, fundamental knowledge, like for example about networking, CI/CD, programming languages, a lot of stuff, authentication, authorization, security, so on. This knowledge will never expire. Let's say they can change and have different realization on different tools, different implementation, but the basic will be the same. And it's very important, especially when you're growing, just like starting from junior, going to the middle and senior. It's very important to have very good fundamentals knowledge, because it's not possible to be up to date with all technology. It's better to have good fundamentals, base knowledge, computer science base knowledge, and use these fundamentals, add new, like realization of different technology. If you look at the Kubernetes, it's not so new. If you look at the deep dive and look at the history, how it was realized in Linux, blah, 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 all of the stuff. It's not so new, but in general, you can combine some fundamental knowledge and see how it's applied in your realization.
Talking about CI/CD as an example here, right? So we have like a theory of CI/CD, which is simple, starting with simple things where CI ends and CD starts. What is the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? All those elements here, how we incorporate tests inside, how we design the process, where is in the whole chain the branching strategy, delivery strategy, etc. The tools are quite small part of it, right? And like the theory is one, the tools are like hundreds of them, probably even, right? So having proper foundation will help everyone to build very well the things what they want to build on this foundation, right?
Absolutely. And CI/CD is a good example. And CI/CD show for us, like especially this example, show that tools is not so important. But when you are junior or middle, sometimes you 100% focus on tools, some technology. You want to learn new. For example, I don't know, like GitLab CI, it's a CI tool, Circle CI. Let's learn, I don't know, GitOps, Argo CD, and so on, so on. But in community, when some, let's say, senior guy or someone else can show you and open your eyes that sometimes tools, it's not so important, like as in CI/CD. Sometimes the process and understanding what you should do and when you should do, it's another way how you can teach the community. And people can learn and listen to just like your real experience. So I think it's the main power of the community. I did a lot of realization of CI/CD. As I said, I collected this experience during the 10 years. And now I share this knowledge. Share that, guys, okay, I understand, like, we can speak about Argo CD, for example, realization or Flux or, I don't know, Circle CI, how to do some fancy stuff. But let's look at the fundamentals. And I absolutely agree with you that fundamentals, it should be part of the community. And especially when, for example, I tried to engage people to start a new community, most probably, of course, AWS user group. I said, guys, you should not speak about only AWS. Yes, agree, it's AWS user group, started from AWS. Of course, we have to speak about AWS. But let's speak about some fundamentals, some open source realizations, something what can bring more value for community rather than just to speak about new service from AWS. I don't want to say that it's not important. I want to say that it should be some combination, some proportion, fundamental knowledge, what can be applied for any technology, for any tools, cloud, on-premise, and so on, doesn't matter. And of course, in AWS, we can speak like how to realize some fancy stuff. I don't know, for example, the same CI/CD in AWS. What kind of benefits, what kind of services, where it can be problems, where it can be benefits, and so on.
That's a very good summary of what community should do. And one of the most famous activities you do is DevOps Kitchen Talks. Could you share with us a little bit about the background? Because this is very interesting how it started.
It will be not a very short answer. I'm really sorry. But I try to to cut down as much as possible. So during my career in PAM, I started some internal community. It called like BIRD. If it's abbreviation, it's B in real DevOps. I believe you remember.
Yes, of course.
But for audience, it's like analogy from the book Phoenix. All of the stuff is BIRD. It's like good analogy. So I started this community. I was really engaged, just like to engage other people. I did couple sessions and so on. But after I understood, okay, that's really great. I communicate with people. I try to engage because in community you cannot be. I didn't want to play actor and deliver the session every time, or just like to be one speaker for the whole community. It's not the right way how to do community. Yeah. Community, it's a safe place where other people can, learn how to speak, because speaking is also a skill. You have to make some practice. To deliver a lot of sessions, because most probably if you have never spoken on the audience, your first speech will be not very good. I don't want to say that it will be terrible, but I want to say that like after 10 sessions, for example, your speech will be much better than your first speech. So speaking is the same skill. And I understood, okay, community is great, but I want to speak. I want to speak to the community, not one time in a year or 2 times in a year because it's my community and I don't want to deliver so many sessions. And I found another guy, it's my friend, Max, and he also was really engaged to do podcast. We decided, let's do podcast because, first of all, we thought about, not video, only audio, because in the audio we can make a good quality, just like good microphones or... Yep. Our first 3 or 4 episodes, we made a recording in studio, but I didn't so like to rent a studio. It was really worth experience in my case. Maybe it's because this studios, but anyway. So I decided I prefer to make some podcast and to speak with the audience because I have pretty good experience. Just like I think so. I hope I have a good experience, and I want to share this experience with the audience. I want to listen also audience because we started to upload our podcast not only to like Apple Podcasts and so on. We started also to upload to YouTube. And YouTube, it's great platform because in YouTube you can see the comments. People can say, "Hey guys, I'm not agree with you," or for example, "I see another experience," or "Can you speak about this one?" I started to understand that what I'm doing it's very important. And now, especially now in 2023, after all crazy things happened last couple years, like started from COVID and the war. And currently I got so many feedbacks in comments, in direct messages. Guys, thank you so much that I got motivation from your podcast, from your episodes. Now I understand what I should learn next. Now I understand what's the difference between CI and CD, when CI finished and CD started, and so on. And I understood we are not only to teach audience, we also motivate and engage people. A very good example, last episode, I invited one guy who currently living in Cyprus. I believe everyone understands for what reason. And he passed more than 30 certification. And what he said during the COVID, he didn't lost the motivation to be as DevOps only because of our podcast. He listened all 50 episodes, just like to walking around, to listen, understands what should do next, and so on. And currently, he is a principal DevOps engineer in pretty good company. It's a company in Driver. So when you got this feedbacks, when you got these comments, it's so motivated to continue to do this stuff because sometimes it's very important to hear feedback from the audience. You do some stuff and don't understand. Okay, I see some numbers of you. Okay, that's can be also part of to continue to do it. But when real people come to you and say, "Guys, thank you so much. You helped me to do my career. You helped me to be a DevOps," or a very great, not for the last episode, but previous episode. One person, it's a woman, she left a message. "I'm 44 years old. And especially for you guys, I made decision to be a DevOps. And currently I'm DevOps engineer."
That's great.
And when you're reading these comments, it's like, wow.
You don't need anything to feel like, this is it, right?
Yeah. Just like I don't through my podcast, personal podcast, DevOps Kitchen Talks. It's my my hobby. Let's say in this way. It's not my part of work for AWS, but I continue to do the stuff. I don't earn any money from that, and so on. It's a hobby, and I still continue to try to speak with the audience, with community. Also understand what the current community is worried about, technology, about ChatGPT, GTFI, that everyone will be replaced, and so on. It's very good opportunity to understand what is mind on the people. Yes. And again, it's a huge power of the community. When you're doing such kind of things, I mean like podcast or in general community, in my personal opinion, of course, community is not only just like to do podcast and have some hosts, and this host is doing this podcast. Community, of course, it's a combination of many peoples, and very important to have some in-person communication. But sometimes online communication also can be good. But I would say after COVID, I hope finished. And I started to travel and meet people in person. It's great, so huge. Absolutely, yeah. It's great, so huge trust relation with the people. And
they're definitely having contact, like a physical contact with people. You can look in their eyes when you talk to them, and have the whole feeling of the dynamics of the conversation, right? Which is not that easy, and even maybe not possible at all with the internet community. So, when I do the webinars or things like that, or speaking on online conferences, of course I'm using the camera, right? And I don't feel the audience, and this is, I believe, common for us, right? So what I've done to have the possibility to talk to someone, I have a Logitech camera, which is quite huge in the casing, right? So there are that kind of sticker eyes with this moving eyes, and I put those stickers, those eyes, on this camera. So I spoke to someone. This someone looks like an idiot. So, but anyway, I spoke to someone, right? So this helps me a little bit, at least, to do not feel this, complete loneliness. It sounds crazy, but it works. So maybe this is even some advice to some people in our audience who want to do something like that. And anyway, talking to people directly is completely different.
Pawel, before we jump into the next, I want to say, like, long story short, your question was related to why I started DevOps Kitchen Talks and how it's helped me, just like in general. Super short answer. I started because I wanted to share something with the audience. And I believe it's really helped me to be here where I'm currently. I mean, like, working for AWS, to be a senior developer advocate, because people just like who hired me look at my, my podcast, my presence, and so on. And I think if you achieve some level, doesn't matter what kind of level, you can be a junior or middle or senior, and if you have something inside you and you prefer to share this knowledge with the other people, do it, because it really boosts your career. People will see you and understand, okay, this person knows something, at least basic and fundamental knowledge. And sometimes also I get some comments, why should you speak about Git? Because about Git, we had so many, YouTube rolics, YouTube, series, YouTube, everything, and so articles. But it's your own unique experience, how you work with the Git. And it's more important for the community.
Yes.
For that reason, guys, if you have something, you do some stuff, you learn some stuff, write about that, make some posts. I don't want to say like everyone have to start their own podcast, because it's huge work. Editing, prepare script and so on. But to write the article, it's not so big deal.
That is true. No. That was great, because I have right now something strong to finish this episode. So, folks who listen to this episode, please remember what Viktor said. Start early. Don't be afraid. There will be audience who will listen or read what you do, and they want to know your personal perspective, right? So with this bombshell, thank you, Viktor, for it, we are finishing the first part of our interview, and we will meet together in next week to discuss further very interesting topics. So see you there.
See you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of DevOps in Agile Way podcast with your host, Pawel. Subscribe, comment, and do not forget to check our next episodes. Stay tuned. Stay safe. Stay curious.